Welcome to episode 13 of Edges and Sledges. My name is DJ Chuck. I'm a blogger, one tip, one hand. I'm here with my co-bloggers, Varun and Ashwin, both in Toronto today. Hi guys, how are you doing?
Good, good. Weather here is much nicer than where you are, man.
Yeah, guys, I'm in Peru, so the internet may be a bit dodgy. But we're finally here, 7 weeks later, episode 13 of Edges and Sledges, and it's the IPL final tomorrow. So we're pretty excited. We're all looking forward to it a lot. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Ashwin to just take us through what happened last week since we were last live, and he'll just go through the playoffs and the lineup for the final. So Ashwin, take it away.
Yeah, so just very quickly, CSK versus Sunrisers Hyderabad is the final tomorrow, Sunday the 27th. The top two teams in the league table made it to the final. So those who complain about, hey, 14 games and then you have one knockout that makes or breaks it, the eliminator and the qualifier seems to have weeded out the number 3 and 4 teams, and we've ended up with the teams that topped the table pretty convincingly facing off in the final. The first game we had on Monday of this week was actually the same lineup, which was CSK versus Sunrisers Hyderabad as well, where CSK took the victory thanks to a phenomenal batting performance by Faf du Plessis. Worth noting that Faf was retained using the right to match card by CSK and still only got 4 matches in the first 14. So obviously some typical like bright thinking by Dhoni to bring him in, and he won the match for them. He even walked into the dressing room, I think he was saying, I don't know how we did this. How did we pull this off, guys? So big win for them unexpectedly. Then, so obviously that meant CSK through to the final. Hyderabad had to face off one more team. KKR and Rajasthan then met up next, and then KKR's bowling just proved too good for Rajasthan. Rajasthan did a pretty good job with the ball initially, but then, as has been their story of the season, couldn't get their act together with the bat. Especially they especially missed Joss Butler's presence, who it's worth saying was called up for England and is also saving England in the Test match against Pakistan. But we'll talk that at the end of the show. Which obviously meant Rajasthan Royal were eliminated. KKR got their second shot at the final, facing off against Hyderabad, and that was the one-man show. It was the Rashid Khan show. Picked up maybe 30 odd handy runs with the bat at a phenomenal strike rate at the end, and then 3 wickets with the ball, 2 catches, a run out, just an amazing all-round performance. And that leaves us with Chennai versus Hyderabad for the final match on Sunday.
Yeah, and for all of you who are listening from the start, at the start we had said the two teams that definitely won't make it to the final are the Chennai Super Kings and the Sunrisers Hyderabad. So, yeah, a bit surprising to us. But yeah, I do want
to... Actually, I'm going to stop you there, Varun, because I actually called the CSK for the win right at the start.
That is true.
In the preview tournament. But I mean, can you write a better script than that, Varun? I mean, some of our friends are script writers, and another one wants to write a sports drama. So can you write a better script than this? Honestly,
I don't think so, man. And I think I'm not sure if we discussed it last time, but basically CSK has said we chose a team to win this year's IPL. Not next year's IPL, not 3 years down the line, this year's IPL. And I mean, it's phenomenal. I really can't believe that this team has come so far. But that's what somebody was saying, right? If it's not Raidu, it's Watson. If it's not Watson, it's Raina, Dhoni. I mean, in the middle of this, suddenly there's chaos with Harbhajan and Chahar coming up the order. Who, by the way, I just want to call out saying, I think Chahar is the next Bhuvi. So in 2 years' time, don't be surprised if you see Deepak Chahar walking at number 8 for India to bat and bowling the first over.
So guys, I just want to ask you very quickly, what were the standout performances for you from the qualifiers? Obviously, there was a Rashid Khan moment. Were there any other specific performances you wanted to just flag? Maybe Ashwin, you can take this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll highlight 2. The first I mentioned already, Faf du Plessis, to open the batting and anchor the innings when the entire against the league's arguably best bowling lineup. When the rest of your team is completely crumbled around you, he picked up more than 60 runs. I don't remember exactly how much, but just again, especially having not played that much this year's IPL, he just stepped up and showed why he's a leader for South Africa, why he's a phenomenal batsman in all 3 formats. The second one was Andre Russell for me in the KKR match. He came in late in the game, got a quick fire 50 that enabled them to get to the knockout match with Hyderabad. They eventually lost, and he didn't have a good second game, but standout in the match against Rajasthan was Russell for me.
Yeah. I mean, for me, you've covered most of it. I just want to call out 2 guys. I think these are guys that Rajasthan would want to watch out for them in the future. Shreyas Gopal and Krishnappa Gautam. These guys, I mean, they are underrated players. They've literally come out of nowhere, picked up 4 wickets in certain games, scored like 25 off 7 balls. So I think they've played a big part in Rajasthan's road to the kind of playoffs.
And guys, so now the big finals tomorrow. What are your thoughts on the SRH versus KKR take two? SRH versus CSK take two. Sorry. Who do you see winning this? Who do you think are going to be the big performers? Who's going to put in the match-winning effort? I know Varun, you're not allowed to say Raina, anyone but him. But maybe we'll go to Varun first, and then Ashwin, you can tell us your thoughts on the final.
Yeah, so okay, I'll keep it short. I think CSA is going to win, and I think the reason they're going to win is because of the experience of playing finals and Dhoni's experience. I remember we were watching the game yesterday, and we had certain doubts on how Williamson was rotating his bowlers. Now it worked out, but you don't want Bhuvi etc. not be bowling the last 2 overs. So I think it's going to come down to experience and Dhoni's captaincy.
Ashwin?
I'm going to go the same direction. I think CSK is going to clinch it, precisely because of what I think you mentioned a little earlier. I think Hyderabad's batting begins and ends with Williamson and Dhawan performing. Rashid Khan stepped up a little, and they've had the occasional performance here and there, but they have an incredibly high percentage of runs made by Williamson and Dhawan, and when they failed, they lost. For me, CSK just the ability for somebody lower in the order to step up. I mean, it comes down to lower order batting. Our friend who's Yogi, who was a guest on the show before, says, having Yusuf, Shakib, Huda at 4, 5, 6 is just not comparable to the CSK lineup that has significantly more depth, including Raina, Dhoni.
Like Bravo, Dhoni, and Jadeja are your equivalent of Huda.
So that to me is what's going to see. It's going to be a lower middle. I think it'll be a good bowling contest, but CSK will take it thanks to the lower order.
So I'm rooting for CSK as well. As you know, I'm a big Dhoni fan. I've always kind of liked CSK just because Dhoni's there. I've always been a Delhi fan, but CSK has been doing the winning. So I'm hoping they win, but I think it's going to be a tough challenge because after the last game that the Sunrisers won, I think they have quite a lot of momentum in their favor, and CSK haven't played, remember, since Monday.
Yeah.
So they've had quite a long time off. So I'm hoping CSK haven't kind of taken their foot off the pedal and are still quite focused on it. And so it sounds like it's 3 CSKs, guys. And Varun, can you just talk us through a little bit? Whistle Podu, indeed. Whistle Lungi Ngidi, dude.
Yeah. Oh man, he's been game changing for them.
Yeah, we didn't mention.
My God, he's been game changing.
Yeah, and so Lungi Ngidi, bring my lungi, and Dhoni's been asking for his lungi. So I was just going to ask you, Varun. So have you flown down to Toronto just to watch the IPL final with Ashwin? Because you guys are obviously, for our listeners, you know that these guys are brothers, and Varun is usually based in Singapore. Ashwin's based in Toronto, of course. So Varun, just talk us a little bit through what you're doing in Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, see, to be honest, he's my brother, but I see him every week on Skype anyway. So it was not that important to come and see him. It was more important to watch the IPL in a good time zone where you can wake up, have a coffee, have breakfast, and still have the whole day ahead of you. So I think that was the motivation.
Very nice, very nice. So guys, we're all excited for it. We've called it for CSK. We're hoping we're right. So on that note, I think we can move on to the next section of this show, which is called Actually, Varun, why don't you introduce this? I mean, I think it sounds like it's your brainchild. Obviously, you guys have spent quite a lot of time on this. So why don't you talk us through the next section, guys?
Yeah. So this week we're going to do something different. It's coming to the end of the IPL. We are not doing edges and sledges, but we have a famous commentator called Sunil Gavaskar. So we're taking a bit of a play on that, and we're calling this the Gloomy Bakwaaskar Awards. So the Bakwaaskar Awards, and we're going to have all the sponsors from the IPL. We're going to pick certain players. You can debate it with us. It's our list. We'd love to hear if you have any different choices. But yeah, so Bakwaaskar Awards, basically we're going to talk through let's just start. I think the best way is to start. So in the IPL, you have the purple cap, which is for the best bowling performance. Now, very literally, we just typed what's the opposite of purple in Google, and the answer we got was yellow. So the yellow cap goes to Basil Thampi for the worst bowling performance in the history of IPL. I think not only did he give more runs, why this is commendable and a great award is because he's actually beaten Ishant Sharma. So that I think is extremely commendable and a very credible award. So yeah, so Basil Thampi gets that.
And can I just add, when he bowled his spell of 4 overs, 0 for 70, he was in my fantasy league.
Oh man!
And so not only did I get the massive negatives for having Basil Thampi, but then he got dropped the next game, which means I wasted a sub. So very personal, this one for me. I think well deserving of the yellow cap.
So it's basically the shit cap. Sorry, the yellow cap award.
The shit,
right?
yeah.
That's
the yellow.
Yeah. Okay. The yellow cap. Okay, we got that. Good.
Okay.
Well deserved, I think.
Well, very well
Definitely.
deserved by Thampi. Got thumped completely, but yeah. After that, so moving on.
He's the thumpy. There's a thumper and there's a thumpy.
Yeah, he's
Exactly.
the thumpy.
Okay, I think only lawyers will get this.
No, dude, it's a great one.
About the yellow cap.
Dude, mentor and
Oh,
mentee.
that's
He's
really
like
bad.
the thumper
Sorry.
and the
Thampi.
Yeah.
He got thumped. Beautiful.
He got thumped. Okay,
Nice.
So we move to the next one, which again, they're not very original here, but the opposite of orange is blue. So blue cap goes to one of DJ's all-time favorite players, who he actually rushes into the stadium to watch, and that is Mr. Rohit Sharma, who has basically got 3 ducks across the IPL.
The most this year time.
Yeah, with the most this year. Could not figure out if he's batting at number 1, 2, 3, or 4. Average 23.
Despite a score of 94 in there.
Yeah, despite
so
a
that should show
score
you
of
how
94.
bad. Yeah.
So, yeah, so the blue cap clearly goes to Rohit because he's someone who is, he comes out and hits 264 in ODIs. So, you should be hitting at least an average of 120 in T20s based on that. But he's just not been able to. He's just not. So, yeah. And anything to add?
I absolutely agree with this. For our listeners and viewers, just to tell you how much I hate this guy, I actually celebrated that he got out at Wanderers before he got there. I was like, thank God we don't have to watch this guy bat again because he's so horrible to watch. Anyway, carry on, please.
Okay, you want to take the next?
So I can take it over from here. We've talked about a little bit in the past about how frustratingly boring the end of an IPL match is when you just want to move on with your life and hear the captain speak, but they spend about 8 minutes introducing the dignitaries and sponsors, and then they go through a series of pretty futile awards ranging from the FPB stylish player to the Vivo perfect catch of the match, etc. So we're going to go through some of those awards, but like with the theme of the caps, we're going to be highlighting who did the opposite of the best performances, which is some of our least favorite performances, and we're going to have the awards, the least favorite awards. So I will start. One of my personal favorites for most annoying awards is Star Plus Nayi Soch Award. So what we have here very creatively is the Purani Soch Award. And this one we are awarding to my namesake cricketer, the captain of Kings 11 Punjab, Ravichandran Ashwin, for the thought process where he promoted himself to bat up the order and then ended the season tied with Rohit Sharma for the most number of ducks, which is 3. And he didn't even come out to bat as often as Rohit Sharma. So to end up with 3 ducks and still think you could have promoted yourself up the order for us is a Purani Soch Award.
Actually, I think it's interesting with Purani Soch also because everyone's developing their action, creating new balls and all, and Ashwin has just gone Purana style and copied Kumble's bowling action. So all-round performance on Purani Soch.
But I think it's also Purani Soch because when we were kids, you'd be like, I want to bat up the order. Why do I want to bat low down the order?
Yeah.
He's gone back to childhood. He's like, I'll open the bowling and the batting.
Yeah.
And when you were a child, it was if it's my bat, then I'll bat first.
Yeah.
If I brought the ball, I'll bowl.
Yeah.
Here he's saying, I'm captain.
And I'm the captain then.
Yeah.
What?
He's basically gone back to that. In fact, I even thought, I heard him saying he wants to do tip-top instead of a coin toss, but
Maybe we can convince him to add one hand to the rules
Yeah.
next time.
We can back sponsor him. He'll be there for like a second anyway. What does it matter? It costs nothing.
Indeed. Okay. Should I go to the next one? You want to do it?
yeah. So I'll do the next one. So the FBB stylish player, I don't know actually, I think all of us have lived outside India too long. I don't know what is FBB. It sounds a lot like BFF, but yeah. So the BFF ugly player, and this is where DJ Rush and I want you guys to weigh in. We have had we've had one guy who's fallen over his own legs, and we've had another guy who's like very obsessed with cleanliness, like the jhadu pocha style batting. So it basically comes down to Rishabh Pant versus Chris Lynn, and I also have to call out that Rishabh Pant is actually part of the FBB Stylish Player
he's
Award.
on both
So
lists.
he's on both lists. So in a Venn diagram, he would be in the center.
The overlap between stylish and ugly.
Yeah. But yeah, DJ, any thoughts on Pant versus Lynn for BFF, most ugly player?
Lynn wins it, man.
Lynn,
Lynn
right?
wins it.
Okay.
It's just horrible to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, he should just play Big Bash and just keep hitting it baseball style.
Yeah.
Spin and all, chance ही नहीं है उसका.
Ashwin?
I would agree. I think we're 2 for 2 on this one. I loved watching him bat against pace, but constantly sweeping over and over and over again to me is deserved of the BFF Ugly Player Award.
Yeah. So me too, Lynn. So 3 out of 3. I think he has.
And also Pant is a daredevil, right? So
yeah, exactly. You can't give it to a Pant. But yeah, so Lynn has got the BFF Ugly Player of the Ugly Player of the tournament. But he has scored runs, but it's just been scrappy and terrible to watch. So yeah.
All right, I'm going to go on to the third one. The third award they give is every match is the Vivo Perfect Catch of the Match award, which is oftentimes there's no great catches. So sometimes I have to give it to somebody who took a pretty average catch.
And the funny thing is, the minute the first catch of the match is taken, they're like, that could be the Vivo.
That could be a contender
for the Vivo Perfect Catch of the match.
So we're calling it, again, being very creative, Vivo Imperfect Catch of the Season. And we thought about this one a little bit. We said, hey, maybe, Jadeja, who's usually a great fielder, dropped 2 in the same over against the Mumbai Indians. That could be one contender. We said Shikhar Dhawan dropped a couple of easy ones. There's been a lot of drop catches. But we wanted to go a slightly different direction with this one. And what, to some may be perceived as a good catch. Glenn Maxwell against, I don't remember who it was against, when he was fielding on the boundary in the last week, twice in the same game, caught the ball right next to the boundary and threw it to Trent Bolt in order to successfully complete the catch. So he didn't go over the boundary with the ball in hand and give 6 runs.
Yeah.
For me, this was the imperfect catch of the match because he was my match power play in fantasy. And he did nothing with the bat and nothing with the ball. But 2 catches would have been 40 points.
Yeah.
And both those went to Trent Bolt.
But the problem is, I think Maxwell probably trumped Bolt.
In his own team.
Yeah. So he was like, just take it, brother. Just take the ball. And it reflected as Bolt's catch. So that was Vivo Imperfect Catch of the Match. Okay, next let's move on. Now we don't have a car to give away, but we definitely have an award. So the Tata Nexon Useless Striker of the series. And for us, it's pretty clear. There was really no doubt about this. But to be certain, we actually went and checked the stats as well. So I'm going to tell you who's the. It's Ajinkya Rahane. There's no doubt in our mind. Ashwin, do you want to just talk through the stat?
Yeah, I mean, 15 matches he played, 14 innings, strike rate of 180. I mean, up at the top of the order, nobody who's batted a decent amount comes even close to such a low strike rate. There were matches where, including I think in the qualifier or the eliminator, where it could have gone either way, and then Rahane coming out and slowing down the scoring rate took the game away from his own team, the Rajasthan Royals. So I think deserving of this one to strike at a strike rate of 118 and rack up 370 runs in the season is just you're just eating balls that some of the big hitters could have taken.
Ashwin, did he get quite a lot of competition to Manish Pandey though?
He did.
Was he quite close run by that?
Yeah, he did. I don't know exactly. I don't have the stats for Pandey in front of me because honestly, we pulled the stats for the 30 highest scorers and Pandey wasn't on there. He wasn't even in the 30 top scorer. So I don't have the stats for Pandey in front of me.
Okay.
But Rahane just was a little bit over and above. Just the difference is Rahane, his team relies on him, whereas Pandey was able to help his team get to the final just because of Williamson and Dhawan. Rahane was supposed to be that anchor, and he just did fell short.
It's quite funny how that's changed though, because he was quite a quick scorer, quite a fast kind of opening bat. I remember putting him as captain and trump in many of our Rajasthan Royals games, and I mean even the Pune Super Giant games. So he seems to have really fallen off this season, which is, I mean, apart from the useless striker award, it's a bit sad for Indian cricket more than anything else.
Yeah.
With the tours of England coming up and Kohli's injury potentially putting a cloud over his participation, which we'll talk about later. But it is sad to see him win that award, I think, personally for me.
Yeah, I mean, it is unfortunate. we'll be talking about this a lot in the next little bit. But as an Indian fan, the fact that Rahane and Rohit are both on our what is it called, Bakwaskar Awards list is not a great sign. But hopefully they can bounce back after a bad IPL.
Okay, and the next award is the one that I really love. I mean,
Yeah.
Varun, do you want to talk us through this one?
Yeah, so in life, it's not always about winning or losing. It's really about how you play the game, and there's just one man who comes to mind. So the award is called the Tanishq Foreplay Award, and this name was given by actually one of our friends, Shrek. Um, so the Tanishq Foreplay Award, and it's not just about like you've played fair, you've foreplayed once or foreplayed twice. It's time after time, season after season. I mean, it's almost like I feel this gentleman, if you're, he just gives praise at anything. Like if you're out with your wife at dinner and you order some, a nice starter, I feel like he'll come from behind and tap you on the back, on the bum, and be like, well done, well ordered, and stuff like that. So no doubt for us, Suresh Raina wins the Tanishq Foreplay Award.
Can we make this one a lifetime award?
Yeah, I think this is a lifetime achievement award. That is great. 11 years of non-stop patting. I mean, he deserves a pat on the back.
And many more to come.
And many more to come.
On the back, eh?
Yeah, on
he
the
gets
back.
one on the back.
But yeah, just time and time again, he's right up there in your face. He's sometimes kissing you. He's sometimes pulling your hair. He's he's doing all sorts of.
Well, and in Doug Bollinger's case, not even his hair. He was pulling his toupee off. It's like
Yeah.
he called Doug the Rug for God's sake.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know he was called Doug the Rug. That's pretty cool.
Didn't you remember there was once when they showed Hotspot and he was bowling and it just like it showed his head on Hotspot and it was pretty embarrassing to say the least. Poor guy.
Oh my
Poor guy got shown up by technology. Anyway, right. Next award, guys.
Okay, a last one of this one before we wrap up with an 11 is also a second time award winner. That's just how much we were disappointed with his performance this year. In years past, it used to be called the Yes Bank Maximum when you hit a 6. We're calling this one the Yes Bank Minimums, and it also goes. We are really creative with names, but it also goes to our friend Rohit Sharma for playing at the top order for Mumbai and getting 3 ducks. In large part, Mumbai not making it to the qualifiers this year is because of how dependent they were on him, and ending the year with 3 ducks and just at an average of 23 is just not good enough for your mainstay batsman.
Yeah, safe to say he was a no-hit or a row shit this season.
Row shit. I have one more award I forgot about.
Yeah, go for
There's
it.
the Emerging Player Award for people born after 1996.
Yeah.
Firstly, are there people alive after 96 who are playing cricket? I don't know. Like,
Rashid apparently 19.
Rashid is only 19. So that means Rashid was born in 97.
Yeah, that's in Afghanistani years, man. He's actually like 45.
Yeah, that's what it was looking like. But yeah, I think this is a little more of a nicer one. But I think instead of emerging player being above 96, it's anyone who's born before 96. And I think this has to unanimously go to MS Dhoni, right? He's basically just redefined himself. So this is a slightly nice. We're being nice to Dhoni ahead of the final, but yeah.
It's an aging player award.
Dude,
The Aging Player Award.
the Aging Player Awesomeness Award.
Yeah, Aging Player Awesomeness.
And the Retreating Player Award goes to Yuvraj.
Yeah. Dude.
So on
that
that note, that's a good transition. So as we wrap up this segment, one of the other very, very frustrating parts, you can see him doing the hand signal here, is what's being called the Seat Tire Strategic Timeout. We give credit to this name to one of our former guests on the show. We're calling the Seat Tire Strategic Time Waste, because that's really what it is.
Yeah.
So what we have for you guys is a wrap up of some of the big players we just talked about. The Seat Tire Strategic Time Waste 11, which is the 11 players who we could have done without this season, who wasted our time a little bit.
And they're shorter than the 2 minutes that the Seat break.
Yeah,
lasts.
Pretty much. Yeah. So
In most cases.
So I'm gonna go walk through this list. Maybe I'll have you talk the top order 4. DJ, you can talk the middle and lower order, and I'll talk the bowlers. So why don't you go ahead with the top order?
Okay, so number 1 on the list is Short, and we're not picking Darcy Short because he's not as good as Pant or Lungi.
Or tie.
Or tie. We are picking Darcy Short because we don't know what he was doing in this IPL. He had a great BBL and came in. I think Warren was quite persistent on making him play, but really he did nothing. And thank God Butler came in because that saved like 5 back-to-back innings. So that's our first. Our next is Gautam Gambhir. I think big disappointment, especially as a Delhi fan. But honestly, it really looked like he wasn't being able to do anything. So I personally wouldn't be surprised if we suddenly hear a retirement coming up soon because I don't see how Gambhir can come back next year and play. So that for us was the second opener of the strategic time waste 11. And then number three, I don't want to belabor the point, but Rohit Sharma. Rohit would be there in any top 11, but this season was just terrible for him, so he's number three.
Varun, I'm just seeing a C next to Rohit's name. What does that stand for?
I can't say that on on this podcast, but I think it's captain. He's the captain of the worst 11. So the worst
Okay.
of the worst.
He's the leader.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, DJ, you want to take number 4 to 7?
No, actually, I think you should take number 4. I'll take the rest, Varun. So why don't you go with Yuvraj?
It hurts, man. I think it's really sad because both Gambhir and Yuvraj are like my 2011 heroes. Who, while everyone else was supporting Sachin, etc., these two guys I kind of stood up for. So it comes down to the same thing. Yuvraj, it was just tough to watch him bat. I think for me it comes down to as a sportsman, you probably have to realize at some point that I can't do what I used to do, and the sooner you come to that realization, the better it is because. Trust me, we hate seeing Yuvraj's name in this 11. So, yeah.
Okay, so number 5 is Pandey. Obviously, as Ashwin pointed out earlier today, he isn't even in the top 30 run scorers, so he makes our list. Ashwin's quite a big fan. Pandey was good in the field, took an excellent catch. Can't remember him doing very much else, so obviously he didn't have a very good season. Stokes, can't remember. Did he play this IPL much? He played a little bit.
No, he
He
played
scored
every game, my
till he
friend.
left.
He played every game.
Yeah, so as you can see, completely absent, conspicuous by his absence for the Rajasthan Royals. A big name player. Uh,
3 man of the
so
man
another
awards
failure.
last year. 3 man of the match awards last year.
Yeah. Pod pointed that out, I think.
Yeah.
In the Rajasthan Royals, because Pune he was doing really well, and in the Royals he really done rubbish. So uh, not good from him. Finch scored a 50, I think, once. Which again, for someone who was so consistent at the top of the order, maybe it was a bit where he batted and all of that, and Punjab just tailing off. So another person who made the list.
And
Washington Sundar, after being a hero in the last series that India played, which one was that? Was that Nidahas?
Nidahas.
That he was man of the tournament.
yeah.
Yeah, so he was man of the tournament in Nidahas, and he was completely useless in this particular tournament, and especially on a turning track when he was my second innings power player on my multiplier day. He got smashed for like 2 overs for 40 runs.
Oh my God.
Useless guy. So basically, he had to be in this list. Unadkat, $1 million. This guy. What does that work out to per wicket? How many dollars?
I don't know. I don't even know how many wickets he took, but it was almost as bad as Stokes.
It's like
cost per
5.
run. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think it was
200 grand per wicket.
Yeah.
Not bad.
That's a pretty lucrative business, man, as
Yeah.
an actor.
Yeah, useless. And Basil Thampi, of course, we already talked through Thumper Thampi. So yeah, that completely Oscar 11. Amazing. Okay. So that's that section done, guys. Do you have anything to add to the Sunil Bakwaaskar 11? Are we thinking of a Sanju Manju 11 soon, and other a Danny Morrison 11?
I just want to
Or
add
are
that
we content with this?
I got vetoed on this one for the list, but I would always be happy to have our CSK quick Shardul Thakur on this list.
Why?
I just cannot stand him. He gets wickets, but they're all off terrible balls. If you go back and watch all his wickets this IPL, they've all been long hops that got caught on the boundary, or just a horrid swipe by the batsman. Not really given, not compared to a Chahar or even a Watson's wickets for Chennai. I'm just not a fan of Shardul. So he got vetoed from this list because he wasn't that bad. But I want to watch for the future. I think he'll be on lots of the awards.
How come Maxwell has not made this list?
Yeah, Maxwell. I think because Delhi, we already had one, and we don't want to we don't want to be biased towards Delhi. And they've already come bottom of the
I mean,
table
and bottom of the
bottom
fair
of the
play.
fair play table. So I don't think they deserve this much. So.
Okay. But I think Maxwell's future in the IPL is looking dicey now, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So moving on to the next section, guys. Two big pieces of news this week. One was AB de Villiers' retirement. So let's talk through that one first. Ashwin, what are your thoughts on AB de Villiers giving up international cricket? He didn't actually say he's going to stop playing all cricket, but just international cricket.
Yeah, I mean, personally, a little bit disappointed. I think he's the kind of cricketer who's shaped the game as we know it, who, even for RCB this season, was just an unstoppable force. So I still feel like, from a performance standpoint, at age 34, he's got a lot left to give the game, but fully understand the kind of toll the sport and the schedule, etc., takes on you. So hopefully we'll learn more over the coming weeks on some of the reasons why. Personally, as somebody, as for us, all three of us, we've set our sights on going to watch some of the World Cup in England in 2019. It would have been fantastic to see AB de Villiers, give South Africa one final shot before he does retire at picking up a World Cup, which obviously has alluded to the South Africans. So personally, a little bit disappointed, but I think, happy to see a cricketer step up and do the right thing. If it's taking a toll on his mental and physical health, it is a good thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, so I agree with all that. I think two things, just one quickly. I think what's important to remember is always nobody gets the retirement they want. No, not everyone gets that farewell match, farewell series, and these are great players. So I think something larger probably happened. I don't think this was a decision that he was thought through for a while. And I don't know, my gut feel tells me this is not the last we'll see of AB in the international arena either. That's just my gut feel.
Mm. Yeah, and I think I agree with you because I don't know whether I was telling you that I read his book when it came out last year, and the book opens with "God has spoken to me twice."
Yeah.
And one of the times is when he's taking a catch to win at cover to win South Africa the first World Cup. And with this retirement, I mean that dream is it's gone, right? And it is sad. We watched him earlier this year, and I mean he's got so much. It's just unbelievable to watch him. And the reception he got is something that I think I've only ever seen Sachin or Kohli get from an Indian crowd or an English crowd maybe.
Yeah.
So it is sad to see. It's a big moment that's taken place just after the IPL. So maybe we'll see him in the IPL next year. I don't know. But it is sad, and that brings us to his big friend Virat Kohli, who there was some news about his injury in the papers, guys. So how's that going to play out in the next few months? I mean, it's pretty worrying. Apparently, it was first reported to be a hernia. A herniated disc in the back, and then they said it's a neck injury. So, not sure what's going on there. But guys, what do you think about? I mean, his workload over the last few months and years, and going forward, how do you think this is going to play out for Indian cricket?
Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also disappointing. We talked on the show a couple of weeks ago how we were all pretty excited. It was a sledge. I think we all said that Kohli is going to England to play for the summer. Having said that, I think the BCCI is obviously trying to keep the extent of the injury a little bit under wraps. I think if it's the right call to avoid the county season in order to make sure he's fully fit for the England series, and then obviously remembering there's an Australia away series later this year, followed by New Zealand away. There's a lot of key big test series coming up for which the BCCI thinks that we need our leader to be completely fit. So I think it's obviously the right call if the injury is pretty bad, but it's unfortunate because I think he now needs to go to England and prove himself to nobody really but himself in conditions he hasn't really gotten used to.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree. I think it's disappointing, but like Ravi Shastri actually came out and said that, Kohli is not a machine. And, you heard AB saying he's tired. So, yeah, while Kohli's worked a lot on fitness, I think what we can't forget is 6 weeks of T20 cricket can take a toll on you, man. It's very intense. So, yeah, I think it's disappointing for Surrey fans and English fans who wanted to see him. But as an Indian fan, it's probably better to get him rested. He's good. He can do well in England even without the county. So it's better for him to get his rest.
So is it because of the fitness work that he's put in? Do you think that this has happened, or because it may be theory that he's worked out too much? I don't know. His emphasis on fitness is quite high, and obviously the intensity with which he plays the game is higher than anyone else.
Yeah.
So an already intense tournament and all his fitness work. So maybe that's affected it. What do you think, Varun?
I'm not sure. I just hope he hasn't kind of like hurt his neck while taking a catch and blurting out some expletives or
Could really well be why.
yeah, it could be
Maybe
why.
it was after AB took the Spider-Man.
Yeah,
The
maybe.
force with which Virat ran to
Yeah,
hug AB.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Maybe that's what it was.
because Kohli's too.
No,
I
It
think
couldn't
he's
be
too
at the
fit.
gym or
couldn't
running. It
be
has
in
to
the
be while
gym.
running.
it must have been he would have been trying to do a better catch than the
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Maybe he was doing
And
it
he's
on
hurt
a-
himself in the process.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you started on Iron Man catch or something.
But yeah, we really hope that he's back in time for all the test matches. Do you think that if he's actually injured, do you think he's just going to push himself enough to play the test matches even if he's actually injured? Because I think he's focused on England for too long to just not. He may give the one days up, the T20s up, but do you think he'll make it to the test matches even if he's not 100%, guys?
I think he will. Also, I think I can't remember if I read, but I don't think he's playing the T20s in England. So there's I think probably 9 or 10 weeks before the first Test match. So that is more than enough time. So I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Okay, guys, I think that's the show for this week. Anything else you guys have to add or any final thoughts on the final? Okay, well, there you have it, guys. And thank you very much for joining us this week. We're all looking forward to the IPL final tomorrow. May the best team win. And subscribe to our blog. You go and download the podcast wherever you get your podcast from: iTunes, Pocket Cast, Podbean, Google Music. Subscribe to the blog and let us know what you think. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next week. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.